this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here today to do Rachel's weekly challenge. So she is up to week 10. I think she probably actually is up to week number 11 now. But yeah, I'm a little bit slow on the kind of joining in, I'm afraid. So yes, what are we making? So we are making paper bundles, fun and easy paper bundles, week 10 for the Roxy's weekly challenge. And obviously that's the hashtag Roxy's weekly challenge. That should get you kind of all the videos and things for her weekly challenge. So her fun and easy paper bundles. Wow, again, I have been way overestimating how much I think I'm going to possibly get done today. But hey, let's just kind of see how we do. So if you want to join along and you haven't seen Rachel's original video, I mean, do go and check it out. And also I've watched Seven Plaza, Margaret over there do that on her channel. And also I watched E from Scrapbooking with Me, watched her do this week's challenge. So, lots of other videos out there, doing the challenge. So yeah, please don't kind of just stick with mine. But if you wanted to join along with me today anyway, what you're going to need is a selection of paper. Now, I have got a whole big selection of papers here, and I'm going to try and do some with some decorative papers. Now, I have to say, I haven't seen anybody else really do it with decorative papers. I've just seen them do it with printables, but documents, like vintage document printables. I'm going to give it a try with some, decorative papers. I've also got some tracing paper, which I've coffee dyed. So I might try and give it a go with some of that. Again, don't know how we're going to get on, but we'll see. I mean, I might not even get time to do half of these things. And then I've also got some sheet music, which I thought we could try. And I've also got some actual original vintage documents. So we should just see how we get on time-wise. Then you're going to need some scissors or a tear ruler or a paper trimmer, however you like to kind of tear your, or, trim your paper up. So scissors, you're going to need some glue for like the belly, not the belly band portion, but the kind of like hold together portion. You may need a bone folder if you like to kind of like, press your folds down. I'm going to probably just use my scissor handles. And aside from that, you're going to just need some little bits to put into your pockets and maybe some distress ink and things to, to ink around, maybe some bits to decorate. So let's have a look and see how we're going to do these. So I have got here, this is my damask papers, and I've backed it with some of my William Morris papers. Now, as you can see, I mean, I coffee dyed this, and I have to say I've coffee dyed it literally 10 minutes ago. So the reason I keep touching my mat is because it's red hot where I've just been ironing my papers, which is actually really, really nice because it's quite chilly today. So yeah, it's hot off the press from being, coffee dyed and then ironed. Now it's torn, unfortunately, because I was a little bit kind of over keen in the ironing it because I'd only just coffee dyed it and it wasn't dry. And that's what tends to happen, obviously, if you try and, iron your papers before it's dry. But that's fine. I'm going to just go with it anyway, because obviously, we're looking to get, vintage looking paper bundles. So yeah, I backed these together, like I say, the William Morris and the damask, thought that they would like, make a nice sort of combination. Now, which way round do we want them? Oh, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think probably the William Morris actually on the outside, do I? I mean, you're not going to probably see much of the inside. But the reason why we've done the double-sided is obviously, and everybody has used double-sided who I've seen kind of create these, is, just so that when you take it out, if you open your pocket, you've got kind of double-sided paper. So the other good reason for using this on the outside is obviously the inside is paler. So if you wanted to journal, you could probably journal over here. So yeah, it's all good. Now, everybody else did trim theirs down on the side a little bit, but I wonder whether that was just because they'd printed, not borderless. Obviously, mine has printed borderless. I might have one or two bits that haven't, but where it has, I don't think I'm even going to bother with the trimming it down. I might just leave it exactly as it is, or we might just trim it down in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just fold them up, and they just folded them like this. So maybe that's why they trimmed them down, because to be honest, maybe that's a little bit on the big side. Yeah, perhaps it looks a bit of a gigantic pocket, I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down slightly here, just a little tiny bit off of there. And then I'm just going to fold my bundle up here. And then I'm going to trim it down here on the edge. Now, I'm just using my scissors. I may regret this. This is where obviously other people have used, you know, paper trimmers or tear rulers and things like that. But I'm just going to use my scissors. Again, because, you know, I'm not too worried, to be honest. You know, if this doesn't look perfectly straight, that's fine. Because, you know, it's supposed to be looking like a vintage kind of document. It may not be, you know, perfectly straight. Now, Rachel kind of like bent over a couple of corners on hers. Just for kind of interest, I think, really, to make it look sort of more vintage. So I've kind of like scrumpled-ish mine. So I might just kind of like do that kind of effect. And then because I've cut mine down with my scissors, I'm just going to rough the edges up, which is where obviously if you're torn against a tear ruler, it's going to be, you know, more rough and ready in the first place. And then you wouldn't have to necessarily go along with your, you know, your scissors to rough the edges. But I don't mind. I quite like those sort of rough edges like that. So that's all I'm going to do is make my bundles like this, and then we're going to kind of obviously work with them. So I'm going to do a variety, like I say. So I'm going to put that to one side. Perhaps we'll make the next one a little bit smaller because maybe that is still quite big. So for this one, I'm going to use, this is from my farmyard collection. And again, it is quite, you know, quite big. No, that wasn't what I was trying to say. It's printed, you know, borderless, so it would be quite big. So what I'll do is I'm just going to fold it into here, I think, like that. Now this has not been double-sided, so what I've done is I've coffee-dyed the back, which hopefully, you know, that's going to be just as good as being, you know, if it were were double-side printed. Now I'm just going to trim this up along this edge so as it kind of matches, you know, along the folded edge. Again, not going to stress. If it doesn't match perfectly, it doesn't match perfectly. Now Rachel kept these as her little kind of tie around closure-y type bits. You know, I may use these, I may use something else, but I'll just keep that just in case. So this one now, do we want the yellow flowers on here or do we want it all kind of lilac-y? I think maybe like that, or maybe like this, or maybe like that. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, again, just going to cut this down just because, you know, in hindsight, my other pocket turns out pretty big. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, actually, aside from the whole, you know, if you printed borderless or didn't, they maybe kind of need to be a little bit smaller anyway, because otherwise perhaps they're going to be, you know, pretty ginormous pockets. I don't know. So like I said, we're just going to make sort of a variety of sizes and styles. Now you can see I've got this kind of mishmash on the edge where it's not lined up properly because of how I cut that. That doesn't bother me. You know, it's all trying to look vintage. It's all trying to look old. So to be honest, if you had some old documents, you know, the chances are they're probably not going to be lined up, you know, very well. So I kind of think that looks more authentically vintage to not be lined up. Hey, that's my excuse. So, and again, just going to fold these edges in sort of like Rachel did. Now I'm just doing a sort of doubly fold, if you see what I mean. Just because I think, oh, maybe that's a bit more, you know, yeah, a bit more vintage looking rather than just a little kind of folded edge. Just, you know, from my point of view, because I'm not very good at doing those. Right, so that's that one. Now let's pull in a sheet music and do one with the sheet music. Now my only reservation with the sheet music, it's very, very, very thin and fragile. You know, I can't really kind of do anything about that because obviously, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to just take it in here like this. Now I'm just wondering whether I should, if I folded this over, whether I could kind of like stiffen up the pocket. I mean, I could do that so that then if I folded this in and then glued it down, it would then, you know, thicken it up. But to be fair, I mean, it would only thicken up that edge. Everything else would still be you know, still be flimsy. So I don't know how much I'm really gaining by doing that, if I'm truthful. So I'm just going to fold it up like this, but yeah, let's just tear this edge off. So I've folded this. Now this is very flimsy, like I say, because this is genuine, authentic, vintage paper. So we just tear that down there. Whoops, like that. I don't know how many Rachel made of these, or Margaret actually. I should have looked really to see how many, because I know that Rachel does it a kind of challenge to herself to see how many she can make during the 45 minutes. Margaret, I know she said she wasn't really kind of, you know, setting herself a time challenge, if you see what I mean, but just joining in the challenge. So yeah, I don't know whether I will, you know, make a sort of decent amount or not, but hey, you know, it's all just part of joining in. So there we go, that will do. And then again, just going to fold over those little corners just so as it looks a bit more kind of vintage. Whoops, like that. Okay, so I'll just put that to one side. So that's the sheet music. Looks pretty, doesn't it? I've got some vintage document, so let's pull that in. Right, now this is going to be huge. This is like a legal document, and again, this is super flimsy, so definitely, you know, this is not my normal style of making things, because normally I'm very much all about the kind of thicken things up, because I don't trust myself to use them. Oh, this isn't going to be brilliant actually, because it's not got text everywhere. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about this. Ah, right, okay. So yeah, I've picked a bad page. So let me tear down another page that hopefully is a better one to use. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully we're just going to end up with a lot of different looks. Right, so that one's going to be better because obviously it's got text everywhere. Now, again, want to have the text on the outside so it's a bit more interesting, like that. Now, this one obviously is going to be kind of giant because the paper's quite long, if you see what I mean. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold that up like that. You know, I mean, it doesn't really matter if this front pocket's quite big. I don't think that really matters too much, to be honest. But I'm going to just cut it down like that. Okay? And then I think just cut this down as well. Okie dokie. And then again, just fold my little bits over. I mean, I think Rachel did do that to, you know, to make them look vintage. I'm not really too sure. Now, I'm kind of wondering whether that was for that purpose. Right, this is my tracing paper. Now, this is thickish. I think it's 100 GSM, or it could be 110. So it's thicker than kind of, you know, normal tracing paper. I have coffee dyed this and ironed it. As you can probably see, it's pretty creased from the iron, you know, the ironing process. That doesn't bother me. But, you know, I'm not saying that would be everybody's cup of tea, but for me, I think that actually kind of adds to the cool look. Now, I wish that I had printed some vellum or tracing paper, because I think that would also look really, really nice. Unfortunately, I had just made something earlier on this week using all my printed vellum or tracing paper, and at the moment I've run out of ink cartridges. So yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm not experiencing a problem with my ink supply like I have done in the past, but yeah, just for the purposes of this video, I just didn't have any, you know, any ink to be able to print some more. Otherwise I would have done, because I think that would have looked really good. But anyway, it's all fine. So going to trim this down again like that. Maybe again trim it down on the edge, just because, you know, possibly it's a little bit on the wide side. Like that. Okay, oh my goodness, I've not made a good job of cutting this at all. Very difficult with the tracing paper, because of course it's, you know, it's kind of moving and sort of wrinkled, so it's very, very difficult to get a good look you know, with the tracing paper. It's probably easier actually before it's coffee dyed, if I'm truthful. But anyway, I mean, I think that looks nice, and I like the effect of the tracing paper. So yeah, it's very terry. You can probably see I've torn a little corner in there. So yeah, not the best. Right. Okie dokie. I'm just seeing what other papers I've got here to see what other looks we might like. I've got some of my French papers. I mean, again, we're going to end up with things sideways on, so that's probably a bit weird. I've got this, which is my Shabby Chic collection, which I thought would be lovely. They will be sideways on, but I don't mind, I think, for these, because I think they're going to look really super lovely. So yeah, okay, so I'm going to just fold this in half. Again, this is printed single-sided, but I've coffee dyed the back. Okay, and I'm just going to fold this up here like that, and then I can go in and cut this down, because this is not printed borderless. So I'm just going to cut the white borders off like that, and then up here like that, and then again just going to cut down the edges like that. Okey-dokey. Right. So, I mean, how pretty is this one? I absolutely love it. So just then, again, just do my little folds over like that. Okay. I don't think I've made a very good job of the folds, I've got to be honest. I feel like Rachel's looked a lot better than mine. Right, so I have all these papers that I didn't use. I thought I was being a bit over-ambitious when I came along with such a huge pile, but never mind. Right, so we've done a lot of little bundles here. So yeah, it's all looking quite good. So what I'm going to do, I think, actually before I ink, I'm going to make the little kind of portions that are going to hold these closed. So I did keep a couple of strips that we cut off. Whether or not I'm going to use those, I'm not sure, because I might actually prefer to use something else, something sort of contrasting. So let's have a look through. I mean, to be honest, I probably could even use scraps for this. Or I could maybe use this document. Quite nice, but it seems a little bit extravagant waste of that. Could probably use book page. Okay, right, let's have a look. So this one, obviously blue. Right. Let's have a look. Now that's why Rachel obviously kept her edges, isn't it? Because obviously that gave you the perfect thing to make your belly bands from. Obviously I did not really kind of think about that enough. So yeah, should have kept pieces, but never mind. Now I'm just going to see whether actually it's possible to cut it this way. It's quite a tight squeeze, you can probably see. Yeah, it's probably a bit too tight really to do it that way. So I'm going to have to, I think, cut it this way. Some of the pockets might be better than others, but right, let's just take this down here. Hopefully I'm going to get a couple of little closures from this piece. Right, so cut this down. So this is my French collection papers, but I thought this was a nice neutrally one that's going to go with, you know, a bunch of these, isn't it? You know, it's going to look good. So how gorgeous does that look on there? Love how that looks. So that can go around there. Now I'm not worrying at all, like, you know, this is not kind of in the center, if you see what I mean, because what's more important is that I get, you know, the piece I like on the front, if that makes sense. So just like that, and then I'm just going to take my glue. This is where my glue is going to let me down now. I haven't used my glue yet today, so of course it's not now wanting to work. Oh, that was predictable, wasn't it? Right, okay. Let me unclog my glue. Okay, right. Okay, so glue, then, oops. So we just glue this down like that. Now, it's probably worth putting something underneath there to catch any excess glue, because I'm thinking that's going to kind of seep out and then go all over my paper. So if I just put this bit of sheet music down there, it's just going to catch any excess rather than glue it down onto the bundle itself. So yeah, like that. Okay. And obviously, you know, these just then slide on and off, these little belly band type pieces. So although it's holding your pocket closed, it's, you know, completely slide on and offable. Okay, right, I'm going to take this one next because we did keep this sheet of paper for this. So for this one, yeah, we could probably just use the coordinating bit, maybe with the yellow as well. So let's put that round there like that. And then just, again, cut this down out there. Oops, like that. I mean, probably could even, yeah, get away with gluing these, you know, not whilst they're pressed in, but anyway. So again, just putting this underneath, and you know, the purpose of this is literally just to catch my excess glue. So that's the only reason I'm, you know, putting this under, is just so that any glue seeping out just, you know, is caught then by that paper. So again, press that down, catch the seeping glue like that. Okie dokie, whoops, like that. Okay. Oh my goodness, how lovely do they look? I love these, Rachel. If you catch my video, and I'm not saying she will, but if Rachel catches my video, I just want to say I love these. Thank you so much for this brilliant idea. They're really kind of like a simple concept, but I would never in a million years have come up with this. So yeah, absolutely genius idea. They are so cute. Absolutely so cute. And to be honest, you know, I've not even decorated one yet, and already I'm just absolutely loving them. So yeah, really, really, really ingenious. There we go. Oh my goodness, how much you love that tracing paper one. I love it. And obviously, you know, you could also stamp your tracing paper. That would be another, you know, thing that you could do with that. Again, I didn't, but that would be absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. Now, wondering whether for this one, whether to go for like a contrast with some, you know, decorative paper, or whether to go for something plain. Just see, we could go for something like this. Perhaps I'll just go for this French again. This one's brilliant. It just seems to go with lots and lots of different ones. So yeah, I think we'll just go for this one again. So just going to cut this down here. Okay. Like that. Okie dokie. There we go. Oops. Like that. And again, just pop this one under there to catch the excess glue. Like that. Okie dokie. Yeah, my favourite one so far is that tracing paper one. I love it so much. And like I said, you could stamp that. I would stamp it, but obviously there's not that much time now left probably today, because I'm just having a look at the time. I think it's like 20, I don't know, I can't see, but I think it's 25 minutes or something. And obviously I've got to kind of ink these and stuff them yet. So although that sounds like I've got plenty of time left, probably haven't in real terms. So yeah, but I do absolutely love it, and I can just picture it looking really awesome if it was stamped. So definitely that would be, you know, a kind of another alternative look, I think, you know, is stamp it. But like I say, otherwise, you know, printed would be lovely, or plain. I do really like it plain. So yeah, but just, I think the key there is I just really like it. However it is, I'm loving it. So, right, pop this under to catch that excess glue. Once more. Pop that down there. Okay, oops. Press that down. Oops. Oh my goodness, come on. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've only joined in one of the other Rachel's Weekly Challenges, and, you know, not intentionally, but just, you know, kind of time-wise and things like that. I just haven't got round to it. But, yeah, I loved these paper bundles, I have to say, and I just couldn't resist joining in with this one because I thought, oh, they are just so cute, you know. They just really kind of captured, you know, captured kind of something. I just really couldn't resist but come on and make one because I just loved them so much. Right, just having a look now to see whether we should have a little contrast one here. I've got some of this, which is from my vintage headers pieces. So this might look quite nice, to be honest. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be big enough to wrap around this way. Oops. Let's see. No. So again, have to take it down this way here, like that. I think the thing that's so fun about kind of all the challenges and things, you know, is seeing how different everybody's work is. You know, you can take the same project, but everybody's looks are so very different, aren't they? What people come up with. And, you know, that's just incredible, I think, that we've all got such different styles that you can have so many different looks for the same project. You know, it makes it very, very exciting because instead of it being boring, because you think, oh, I've seen that done before, actually, the results can be so very different that it doesn't, you know, it doesn't seem boring. Because actually, it then ends up looking like quite a different project, I think. So, yeah, always think that's, you know, really quite fascinating, the different looks that we all have and how many different things can be achieved. There we go. Right, absolutely love those. Now, I have to say, yeah, not sure which one is my favourite, but I just love them all. So let's bring them all in and see the ones that we've done. So I probably haven't got time to kind of do the whole inking for everyone and things like that. So I probably should just crack on and maybe kind of like fully decorate one or two. So let's take the tracing paper one. So I've got this. This is from just my spring, Victorian Gallery printables. So yeah. Loving how that looks on there. Isn't that just so gorgeous? Love it. Now, do we want a bit of lace or something? Again, just using like literally scraps that are sort of laying about on the desk. So maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks very pretty, doesn't it? So I'm just going to leave that there. Take my hot glue and you know, and I say this all the time, I'm just using hot glue for, you know, sheer laziness and speed, because when you're doing a video, it's just really convenient to know that your pieces have glued down, you know, and you're not kind of waiting for them to dry. So that's the only reason why I kind of like really opt to use the hot glue so frequently. It's just, you know, it's quick and it's easy and it's kind of guaranteed that it's then, you know, stuck down. There we go. Oh my goodness. That's so lovely, I have to say, just, oh, without anything else even being on there. Right, now, so I've got my my French collection background papers here, the one that we have been using to make these kind of belly band pieces. So this is printed on like 110 GSM, I think it might be. So I'm thinking, let's just take a couple of these bits to kind of make some bits to put into these pockets. So we've got this one here with that beautiful, you know, Paris Opera House, which, I mean, that's just such a beautiful building, isn't it? And it's instantly recognizable. So I'm going to cut this down like this. Now, I'd love to be able to get this script in, but I'm not sure whether I can. So it might be that we'll have to just, you know, go with the flow. Let's just see. Oh my goodness, I have. I've managed to keep it in there. So we've got lots of different tucky places in here. We've got this place, this one, and the belly band. So that's our first piece there. Okie dokie. And then we're going to take the vintage document, you know, that I kind of cut down and then rejected and didn't end up using. I'm going to now make a little kind of sort of flippy, not pad, but flippy fold. Yeah, flippy fold, if that's such a word. Like this, that's going to go, you know, fully into that back pocket. Oh my goodness. Well, I say I'm going to do that. Who knows? I'm not making a good job so far of doing that. Oh my goodness. What a mess I'm making of this. It's because I'm trying to line it up with a piece that's not straight. So yeah, that's why I'm making such a hash of this. There we go. Right. Oops. And then probably fold that in there, like that. That's the back. Right, okay, let's cut this across at the top, like that, okay. And I'm thinking just put the texty part on the front, just because, you know, that's kind of more interesting, isn't it? So, yeah, maybe just ink it up a little bit. I mean, it's, you know, it's vintage document. It doesn't really need kind of inking, if I'm truthful. Let's see if that's now going to slot in. Oops. Probably folded it too wide now. No, it is slotting in now. Is that right down to the bottom? Yep, right down to the bottom of that pocket. So obviously I could trim that down now so it's more kind of in the height of the pocket. So yeah, should we do that? Just because otherwise it's perhaps a little bit on the tall side. Like that. There we go. Fitting perfectly now into that pocket. So we've just got a couple of little tuck spaces here that we just want to kind of make, you know, one or two smaller pieces there. So still got obviously this from this French collection papers. So let's take that one, cut it along there and here. So we could even just tuck that one in there, and then here we've just got this gorgeous postage stamp. So I'm thinking, right, let's just take this down here. I mean, really, I'm just trying to kind of use up how things, you know, have been left, so I'm using as much of the page as I possibly can. So yeah, this one I'm thinking we could just probably staple a couple of these together, and maybe as well staple a little bit of you know, that vintage document. So if I just bring some more of that in. Okay. Oops. Okay. Obviously been secured with that split pin up there. Just take that one down like that. Okie dokie. Right, now I have to obviously be a bit careful because this is, you know, this is not so wide. But if I just tear this down here, so this is, you know, very thin because it's just that vintage document. Oops. Oh my goodness. Hello, did you see my tearing? What a nightmare. Yeah, that's why other people use a tear ruler. I should really learn my lesson. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all fine. All fine. Right, so I could have it like this and folded like that. Yeah, that works actually quite well. So, and then just, I mean, I could probably even staple that on, or we could go with like kind of the original theme of the document where it had that little split pin. I've got my gorgeous brads that the lovely Michelle has sent me, which I'm so thrilled because these are, you know, pretty much like the brads that I can no longer get anymore from the range. So thank you so much, Michelle, if you're watching this. I just want to thank you so much for these. I'm thrilled to bits. Honestly, I couldn't believe my eyes when I opened the parcel and I saw what they were. I was so thrilled. You know, because if you watch my channel, you'll know, oops, that was maybe upside down. You'll know that I've been looking for these for ages and then could not find them anywhere. And, you know, I'd ordered some from Amazon. It turned out they were much, much smaller. You know, so yeah, was not able to find them. So these aren't the same, but they're pretty close, I have to say. So yeah, really love them. And what's quite fun actually, the back is a really big stick pin, you know, long split pin, really long at the back, which actually is much more in keeping with the genuine vintage kind of style. So yeah, really love those. Right, and then obviously to get this to fit into the pocket so it's not so long, you could just then, you know, fold that over like that. So you can then put that in to that little tuck there. So you've got a lot of pieces in this, whoops, in this pocket, which is really fun, isn't it? So yeah, you've got a lot of pieces tucked in there. Absolutely love it. So that's that one. Right, let's do another one. Let's do one kind of make it look quite different, shall we, to that one. So let's do this blue one. It's been kind of calling me a little bit. So yeah, let's hope that we can make this one look different anyway. So again, just going to ink around the edges a bit. So it's looking, you know, lovely and grungy and vintage. So love the look of it so far. Now I have got my, oh gosh, what do you call these? Paper ruffles that we made the other day in the mass making session. And I'm thinking this would look quite cool on here. So let's just take one of those. I mean, I love this little belly band piece holding this closed. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? So I'm thinking we could either have this kind of like here, or we could have it on one of the pieces that we're going to tuck in. So let's just see. Right, I've got the rest of this vintage document. So let's just take this down, make it a bit neater here on the side. Okay. Yeah. So fold this into, yeah, kind of like thirds. I think this bit's slightly smaller, like that. Okay. So again, just ink this down that side and then along here. Okay, so that can go into there. And I've got this little piece here with the bee from the French background papers. That would also look rather cool on there. So I'm just going to staple that, I think, this time. So I'm just going to use my Tim Holtz stapler. Like that. How gorgeous does that look? Now I've also got this. This is from the Perfect Pocket. No, it's not. No. This is from, oh my goodness, what's it called? I'm so sorry. I can't remember the kit that this is from. And I know that, you know, I do then get lots of messages saying, oh, can you tell me what kit that's from? So I'm so sorry that I can't remember. Honestly, it's really hard remembering kind of all the kits. And I definitely, you know, I'm trying to up my game and be a bit more efficient, because I know that lots of you do really want to know. But yeah, just sometimes, you know, you just can't remember, I'm afraid. Oh, that's quite nice, like that actually. Right, let me keep this ruffle here for a moment, because we're just going to kind of like have a think. Loving him there, I have to say, kind of even just there on the actual back of the pocket. You know, it looks very cool, doesn't it? So have a look. I've got some of my postal collection papers, which again I'm thinking, you know, quite nice, because obviously I like the fact that they're brown and sort of match the pocket. So let's just take this down here. Okay. Oh my goodness, that needs to come in miles, doesn't it? I'm like miles out with the size of this. Yep. So again, let's just take that right down here. Now, oh my goodness, what a terrible job I've made of that. Yes, if you're watching and thinking, oh my goodness, did she call that straight? No, I don't. I don't call that straight. I'm well aware it looks appalling. But hey, never mind. Right, so this one, you could either ink the back or you could obviously coffee dye it. I'm just going to ink it because, of course, you know, for the purposes of the video, I just haven't really got time to be messing about trying to coffee dye this. So you could also glue this onto, you know, some coffee dyed paper or whatever to, you know, colour it. And it would also then make it more sturdy. So that would be another, you know, quite sort of good idea. So we just ink this up like that. Okay. Now, wondering whether we want to have a little bit of that ruffle on here. Oh, can you hear my doggy? She has been laying in my bed. She's so lazy. She's been laying in my bed, and yeah, she's obviously just got up. I can, you know, I can hear her now wandering around. So she'll probably come in to say hello in a minute. Right, I've got this one, which this is from my coloured book plates, and obviously it's in this ducket colour. So I'm not saying it necessarily goes perfectly, but I think it would kind of look okay. So yeah, let's just kind of ink this up a bit. Whoops. So, you know, I'm kind of thinking then that this would just slot into the back there, or actually maybe in there. So yeah, let's kind of do that. Right, okay. Let's just pop this down. Oh my goodness, my glue's gone from one extreme to the other. It's now like seeping out everywhere. Well, it's better that way than not coming out, I guess, isn't it? So yeah, don't complain too much. I'm not sure whether I'm loving that ruffle there or whether I would prefer the ruffle here. I did really like it on the pocket, it's got to be said, but yeah, probably. Right, let's put this one down. Okay. Yeah, love how that looks. Oh my goodness, what's the time? Oh, I think it's only 42, but for a minute I thought it said 47 and I thought, what? That suddenly whizzed by. So this is probably going to be our last one because, yeah, there's probably not really time to do any more after this. So, yeah, that's whizzed by, hasn't it? Right, let's just do this. Just going to check that I haven't got anything else that I could use on here. I mean, we could even have a bit of black on there, I suppose, but it's probably a bit weird. I haven't really got anything else black on there. So I'm sort of then adding a whole nother colour. Just check. Oh, sorry. Right. It's probably the postman now. This is a slightly narrower paper ruffle, so this one might just be slightly better, I think. So I'm just going to go for this one instead. Yeah, I love these little paper bundles. They are so gorgeous. Absolutely love them, love them, love them. Right, just going to round the corners here. So 1, 2. Oh my goodness, can you see how wonky that bottom is? You know, like on the Bake Off, they say about the soggy bottom. Well, here we've got a wonky bottom. Yep, soggy bottom. Here we have wonky bottoms going on. So, right, that looks better, doesn't it? Now, do we want the book plate on there? I don't know what we do, to be honest. I feel like we could have something here in the middle, but I'm not seeing anything laying around that I can just pop on there at the moment. So yeah, I might just have to leave that. Okay, right, okay. So yeah, we'll just go with this. I mean, we're just kind of, you know, first attempts really. So that goes in that back pocket. So we've got two of the pockets stuffed so far for this one. Okay, shall we make just a little tiny kind of flippy or something for the front? So I've got some of that beautiful stamp paper there, which I just love. So Now, is that going to be right? So just fold that in like that, and then just going to cut this down like that. Okay, so we could have that in there. And, you know, again, what you could do then, you know, if you wanted to journal on that or anything, you could just paint over it, gesso over it, or put some, you know, coffee dyed paper or something over there. So that would be, you know, a nice way to use that. And then I think what we'll do is, in that same kind of vein, we'll just take some of this vintage document here and we'll just, you know, fold this up like we did with the last one, because I loved how that looked, actually. And these are vintage paper bundles, aren't they? So, you know, keeping in with the theme, we're going to just, yeah, have lots of paper, lots of yummy paper going on in these. So that one, like that, again, just ink around like this. Okie dokie, looking good, looking good, looking good. Right, probably have to trim this down in terms of height slightly. Not too much actually for this one, but just a little bit off the bottom. Again, just, you know, tidy that up a little tiny bit. And that can just slot into that back, oops, that back section. Oh no, folded this too wide, would you believe? Oh, it's bound to happen, wasn't it? Bound to happen. Right, okay, back to the drawing board. Just try and now take this in slightly more. So yeah, fold that over slightly more, and then this one slightly more as well. Oh, nightmare. Like that. Okay, right, so hopefully, fingers crossed, and fit to slot that in now. It is a tight fit, it's got to be said. Yeah, that's a pretty tight fit. Oh, come on. Not helped by the fact it's very flimsy, so it's kind of like bending. Right, let me just pull this right over like that. And then I'm just going to trim this edge piece very slightly. Like that. Oh my goodness. Right. Again, there's probably just a how not to craft. Right, just ink that down there. This has now got this fold mark. Doesn't bother me. You know, if you buy vintage documents ever, you know, second-hand kind of vintage documents, often they do have things like that. You know, these are kind of like old papers, you know. So to be honest, if you make mistakes and end up with kind of like a multi-fold line, you know, i.e. more than one fold line, don't kind of get too upset about it, because actually I think quite often you can end up buying things and they have things like that. So yeah, don't kind of, you know, beat yourself up about it or anything. It's all fine. Just going to cut that down slightly more because it was just overhanging slightly at the top. That's it. Tuck that in there at the back. Like that. There we go. So just looking a bit better because it's now kind of fitting slightly more. So right, well, we've only completed 2, so I've been a little bit abysmal. I'm not sure, like I said, how many Rachel actually completed, but I'm pretty sure it was more than I have. So again, just let myself down with my very slow crafting. But we were quite efficient, and we did kind of use up, you know, those bits of paper kind of, you know, on the whole that we used. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more left ready to kind of, you know, finish off and things. So yeah, I hope you love them, and I really, really love them. So thank you so much, Rachel. I really just, they're scrumptious. And once they have all the little bits of paper in, oh my goodness, how yummy are these to touch and hold. So yeah, I love them. So I hope that maybe you've got some more kind of ideas and things. You know, if you've got some tracing paper ones, like I said, that was probably my favourite. Yeah, just have fun. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then. Bye.